Hello and welcome to Voices of the Vic with me, Mike Duffy, and as always, my co-host Ben Aiton. We'll be talking to you about the 1-1 draw at the Riverside against Middlesbrough. Now, Ben, it's Tuesday morning. I've got my days in sets now. How's your week? How's your bank holiday weekend been? We last spoke on Saturday. Was it Saturday morning we last spoke on? So how's the
Yeah,
rest of your bank holiday weekend been?
weekend's been all right. My little one's got a cold at the moment. It's her first cold that she's had, so it's not nice seeing her suffer at the moment. But
Oh,
hopefully she gets better soon. But other than that, weekend's been all right. We're just seeing family now, which you're able to do
mm,
now for all the sixes came in. So yeah, taking but making the most of that opportunity really. So yeah, it's nice to socialise with people again outside, which is really good at the moment because we feel like our little one hasn't really interacted with family members and that. So yeah, it's great to see her with family now. So yeah, and then picking up a point yesterday, just rolled off a good weekend really. That's 4 points in 2 games for Watford now over the Easter period. So I think we would take that going in if you asked us.
yeah, absolutely, mate. Still unbeaten as well, so that's good for me.
That's
Good
all
enough
what
for me.
matters, isn't it? All what
Absolutely, but
matters.
yeah,
How are
hopefully,
you doing, mate? Anyway.
I'm good, mate. Hopefully, Euler gets better soon, mate. But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do this week in terms of fitness wise. Obviously, with it being Easter, I may have cracked a few Easter eggs a bit early than Easter Saturday, Easter Sunday, but and I've consumed quite a bit of alcohol over these last few days. So yeah,
I
back
saw
on
you
it
had
today.
you consumed a few just up to half time yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, I slowed down. That was quite. I sort of got ahead of myself a little bit in the first half, but yeah, um, but
I
yeah,
don't blame
this
you.
back on it this week, and it's a shorter week this week, so I've got a lot of work to be doing. But yeah, other than that, mate, all good. Back on TV again on Friday, aren't we? So, the games are coming thick and fast, but we're edging ever
Yeah.
closer to the end of the season, and hopefully we get in game by game closer to being confirming the return to the Premier League. Touch wood, fingers crossed. Everything's crossed at the moment. Um, but the first thing that we always start on is the team news that came from the Riverside at 11:30 on Monday morning, and we we were unsure whether Pedro was going to start because obviously he come off injured against Sheffield Wednesday. I think I put him down to start on my selected team from the Fan Hub app, and a lot of people perhaps wouldn't have expected him to start. But when that team news broke, Ben, the only change was Success was out, Sema was in, and then João Pedro was still in the squad. So it was back to the original 4-3-3, which we know and love, which is Bachmann, Femenia, Troost-Ekong, Sierra to Messina, Hughes, Chalobah, Zinkernagel, and then Sarr and Sema either side with João Pedro through the middle. Was you A, surprised, and B, happy with that team, Ben?
Yeah, but you can't not be pleased with that team. That's
Mm,
probably our strongest 11. When at the moment with all the injuries that we've got, with like the likes of Cleverley out and others as well. So yeah, that's the strongest side that Cisco could have picked. So yeah, really pleased with that. And I felt like it was with Sema coming back into his team, it was giving us more attacking intent. I know it didn't really pan out that way, but looking at the side, it was good that we was going to go there with our strongest 11 and look to try and get the 3 points. It was pleased to see that Pedro was actually fit and available because I did worry when he got help down the tunnel the other day by the physio and other staff members as well. And for him to turn up as well, it's what we needed. And yeah, really pleased that it wasn't a big injury for him.
Yeah, I think that was a worry. I mean, perhaps jumping the gun a little bit here, but I did see a few people yesterday saying that João Pedro isn't very good anymore, which, to be honest, is quite ridiculous. And I can't believe that I'm reading stuff like that.
Bit
Yes, he
harsh,
hasn't
isn't it?
scored for a while, but he's still having impact. So I think it's very,
Yeah.
very harsh to say that he's been poor and
I
everything
saw
else.
the same messages on Twitter yesterday. People saying, "Oh, if that was Troy Deeney, who's only scored 4 goals in 20 games, everyone would be having a go at him." But I think João Pedro possibly adds more to the side than Troy Deeney at the moment. So you can't even compare the two. And to be fair, he's been playing out wide in the last few games as well, out on the left. So it's not like he's playing through the middle where all his goals have pretty much came this season. So I think it was very harsh. Look, I think Twitter yesterday, we saw Twitter having a meltdown again. I think lots of people coming out saying we bottled it, bottled second place after picking up a point at Middlesbrough. I thought it was a joke, really. It's like, calm down, come on, it's still in our own hands.
Yeah, but you know what we're like on Twitter, mate. You know, have the biggest meltdowns at the smallest things. You know, we love making a mountain out of an anthill. So, yeah, it's normal service resumed. But that winning run was never going to continue. But look, like we've said, at least the winning run ended with us not losing. So I'm happy with that. You know, I put
100%.
a tweet out yesterday after the match, and I said, would I have taken a point before the game? Yeah, probably. Would I have taken a point based on the sort of how the game went? No, I was disappointed. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sitting there for 1 minute thinking, oh God, we've bottled second place. I mean, you know, that's without even talking about other results, which we will do at towards the end of the pods. But yeah, I'm just happy that it was a 1-1 draw. But
I think it's good to walk away from it feeling disappointed as well,
yeah,
because you just want more from your team.
yeah,
And like I saw interviews after the game with Will Hughes, and he was saying he was disappointed as well. And I think the team probably needs that because they're so used to winning every week. Where it's been the last six games in a row they've won consecutively. So I think they probably need like a little hiccup in the road. And we saw it at Bournemouth, didn't we? We there was a hiccup in the road. We ended up losing that game, but it's just how you respond from that now.
absolutely it is. Uh, Obviously, the questions that we get from the listeners, we save to the end. But I'm going to bring one up now purely because I think it's relevant because of how the game started. So the game perhaps didn't start great. You know, we always looked like we were on top possession wise, and we kept the ball very well, and we looked good in possession. But Catherine Jones asked, should there be so many international breaks? Watford were absolutely on fire before the break and now seem to have lost their way again. And I think that's very relevant to bring up now because we're not starting games with the same intensity. We're not seeing the games through with the same intensity. We could have put that game to bed yesterday, possibly. So do you think that's another game where we've perhaps been a little bit lackluster? And then ultimately this time Middlesbrough had our number and managed to nick a goal back.
The international break doesn't help at all.
No.
We mentioned it in the last podcast. Lots of key players travelled a long way to represent their countries, play in. Some were even on the bench, didn't even feature, but they was training with their international countries during the week, and then they come back and maybe have a day to get back into the Watford zone, and then they end up playing against Sheffield Wednesday. I just think it's a bit too much towards the end of the season when teams are fighting for promotion or relegation or whatever they've got to play for, even if it's like a cup run, like a cup final. But yeah, it's difficult. It unsets the momentum that Watford are on. The intensity, like you say, the tempo, it just hasn't been the same since we've came back, and that's probably down to the international break coming in and ruining for a momentum for Watford. But and the performances probably haven't been the same. Very lethargic, average at times, probably. I don't think we've been out of second gear again. We've said all season under Ivic, we've just been in first gear. We've not seen those performances, but then under Xisco's, we've seen us hit third, fourth, fifth gear and absolutely destroy teams. But yesterday and Sheffield Wednesday, we've not really got out of first, second team. It was really slow passing football yesterday. It was like walking football. No offense to people who play walking football, but it just felt like it was just watching a walking football. You weren't allowed to run with it. It was just Truce Econ passing to Sirielta, back to Truce Econ back to Sirielta, maybe back to Batman, then it goes back to Truce Econ. It was just one of those games. It was just like, it was too many sideward passes in defence, and maybe that's down to the international break that's just ruined the momentum and maybe the confidence that some of the players were showing on the ball beforehand.
Yeah, and I mean, no one really likes international breaks unless it was the 2018 World Cup, because that was just incredible. But I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think, do they generally tend to have international breaks around this time of the season? Because I don't remember them, and it might be to do with COVID trying to squeeze them in. I know a lot of the games were World Cup
Yeah, yeah.
qualifiers.
Yeah,
Um,
they do tend to have them because my birthday's at the end of March.
of
My
course, yeah.
birthday's always a international game. Always try and go
Uh,
to Wembley if England are playing. So you've got the Euros every 4 years, and you've got the World Cups. So
yeah,
those every 2 years, you've always got like a big event coming up. So there's always competitions for the international teams to start getting ready for, and then the National League started up as well,
yeah, the
didn't it?
Nations
So
League, yeah,
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 that's it. So there's another competition. So yeah, it's pretty much every year around the Easter period there's an international break, unfortunately, which is
yeah.
silly because it's squeaky bum time for clubs, isn't it?
Absolutely. You don't want to be. I'm sure if Cisco had the opportunity, he would have turned around and says, no one's going on international break. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be the guy that denies somebody of maybe their first international cap, or
Yeah,
Danny Backman had been called up to Austria. I think Bassina to Morocco was the first time. Andre Gray to Jamaica. So you
yeah,
don't want to be denying, because to represent your country, I can only imagine it gives you an overwhelming sense of pride. So then to have
must
that
be.
taken away
Yeah,
from you, although we do need the players, it would be very, very disappointing. So, yeah, but steering in the direction of the game again, unfortunately, I know it was quite drab, but that's what we're here to do. Um, the first real effort of the game, 11 minutes in, Zinkernagel had an opportunity. It was deflected and it went out for a corner, which yesterday I thought the corners were quite poor again. Um, I, I, I just think, you know, it wasn't long ago that we saw this set piece expert that we've supposedly got, sort of his magic working against Birmingham. But I thought yesterday on a whole the set pieces were quite poor, which is a bit disappointing. But at the end of the day, you you're trying to sort of win your battles in set pieces against a Neil Warnock side who we know, no disrespect to Middlesbrough, but they're going to be a stern defence, and they're going to be big blokes as well. So maybe I'm being a little bit too critical. Um, before we talk about the goal, which was probably the next best chance that we had, um, I want to talk about that Chalobah yellow card. I, the game's gone, ain't it? Like, I know we're a Watford podcast, so some people listening to this might think we're being biased, but I thought that was an absolutely superb challenge by Chalobah.
yeah, that was perfectly a good challenge. I thought there was nothing wrong with it. The thing is, when you show any kind of force nowadays, the referee's quick onto it, isn't he? And
Yeah.
he protects the opposition straight away. But back in the day, Vinnie Jones wouldn't have been able to play football nowadays. He wouldn't
No.
be able to make any challenges. There was nothing wrong with the challenge. He just wins the ball. Yes, there's a little bit of force, but he made no connection with Morsey at all. It was horrible to see that he actually got injured off the back of it because
Mm.
his knee opened up when he was about to strike the ball, and then obviously Chalobah hit the ball onto his ankle, and then his knee looks like it gave way a little bit, and it was not good that he's out for the rest of the season. We saw a tweet that came out yesterday
Yeah.
from Morsey, and Chalobah offered his sincere apology, saying he never intends to injure an opponent, and he wishes him a speedy recovery, which was really good to see from Chalobah. But
Yeah.
yeah, the game's gone if you're giving free kicks for that. And now that's Chalobah's 11th booking of the season, and I don't think that's the first time that's happened to Chalobah this season, where he's won the ball from a perfectly good challenge and ended up being booked for it. I can't
Yeah.
remember what the game was, but within the last 2 months, it has happened to Chalobah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And Tim Robinson, I know we all sort of disliked him after the Bournemouth game, but I didn't really have any other complaints because he's refereed us a few times after that and he's been okay. And they obviously rate him quite highly because of the calibre of games that he gets. And I do think he got that one massively wrong yesterday. I also saw an interview on the Watford Observer from Neil Warnock saying that he thinks we'll walk promotion. And then regarding the Chalobah challenge, he said if VAR was in place, Chalobah would have been lucky not to see a red card. And I'm thinking, come on, wait, Neil. And Neil's a
He's a
qualified
character,
referee
isn't
as
he?
well. He's a character here. Colin, good old Colin. Um, and then that was on the 25th minute. 7 minutes later, Zinkernagel takes a shot on the edge of the box, takes a deflection off Sarr, and the ball goes in the back of the net. I'll be honest, originally I thought everyone's stopped, everyone's looking at the line, oh, he's giving it as offside. So I sort of calmed myself down very quickly. And then you see Tim Robinson go over to the assistant and points to the centre circle to confirm that it's a goal. Not the best goal he'll score all season, Ben, but they all count, right?
Yeah, they all count. A lovely weighted assist from Zinkernagel to find Sarr. And yeah, lovely finish from Sarr. I think maybe his best finish of the season. Good work down the left hand side. Ball fell to Zinkernagel. His shot was deflected heavily off Sarr, and yeah, the Middlesbrough just stopped and claiming for offside. When I did see everyone going mad, like the goalkeeper, the defenders, all going over to a line and shouting, I thought, well, maybe there's something in there. Maybe it is offside. But there was the two players claiming that it was offside were actually playing him onside.
I know, I couldn't stop laughing at that. When I saw the replays, I thought, I wonder how close this is going to be. Because the thing I hate is when they are offside, you think, yes, we've got the rub of the green here. But then you see all these people on Twitter like, oh, so it was offside. They didn't, they shouldn't have scored. They're cheating away to promotion, all this rubbish. But when I saw the replay, and it was so ironic because the two that complained the most and had their hands up first were the two players that were playing them on side. But look, when you look in, and Watford's luck is in at the moment. And any other day that would have missed Sarr and it would have hit Sarr and maybe gone over, or it would have hit Sarr and Bettinelli and the Boro goal would have saved it. But Sarr was in for his 10th goal of the season, and I'm sure that's exactly how he envisaged getting his 10th goal of the season.
Yeah.
But we looked like we were pretty comfortable at that stage in terms of possession. We got the goal. We needed to get to half time. There was a few squeaky bum moments because obviously because of the Sam Morsy injury, they had 7 minutes added on in the first half. So I think Boro had a few free kicks, and it was a bit nervy at times, but we made it through to half time. I talk about possession. Boro had 40% at half time. We had 59.3. They didn't have any shots at all. And none on target, obviously. We had 6 shots in total, 2 on target, 4 corners for Boro, 1 for us, 196 passes for us, and 121 passes for them. And then obviously that Nathaniel Chalobah yellow card. Ben, as I say, towards the end of the first half, we were sort of maybe hanging on a little bit and sort of hoping to get the ball away. There was only one goal in that second half, and that was to get a goal, wasn't it, Ben? Because we knew that we were going to be up against a stern tough side in Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough.
Yeah, there were signs in the first half that if Middlesbrough was getting enough players forward, they could cause us problems, and they was getting lots of set pieces in and around the box. There's opportunities for them to get good deliveries into a box, and when you got Paddy McNair standing over it, you're going to get a good delivery into the box, and then it only took 4 minutes for him to have a disallowed goal from Middlesbrough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The ball came into a box. I think it hit Whitmore, who was standing in an offside position, and then his rebound went in past Batman. But luckily, Rolano's flag went up. But that was a wake up call for Watford. It was like, come on, let's wake up, let's switch on, because it was a slow start to the second half.
Yeah, luckily there was no complaints about that one, and he was blatantly offside, because again we would have heard a lot of moanings from Neil Warnock. And you saw, I think, was it the first half? I think it was. You saw that maybe Cisco and Warnock having a bit of a debate on the sideline. What did make me laugh as well, I don't know if anyone saw this, but Adam Leventhal tweeted yesterday, as soon as that goal went in, Neil Warnock, obviously the way he is, was going ballistic at the ref. The Watford bench offered to show Warnock the replay, which would have shown his 2 players playing Sarr on side. But funnily enough, Neil Warnock wasn't interested in that. So yeah, but as you say, Ben, 50 minutes on the clock, not long after the restart. Watmore has it in the back of the net, but luckily he's offside. But you'd have thought that would have been sort of a wake-up call. And it sort of was, 12 minutes later, Sarr and Pedro linking up well down the right-hand side. And unfortunately, João Pedro can't put it on target for his 10th goal of the season. Do you think he should have done a little bit better there, Ben, where he's just put it wide of the post?
Yeah, he's got to do better, but it was good. Good urgency from Watford. Actually, that was the
Yeah,
one time we actually played with a bit of urgency, intensity, moving the ball quickly, and we actually created a really good chance out of it. So I was kind of hoping there was going to be more to come out of that. But yeah, that was fantastic play. It was Kiko with a throw in, Sarr at the byline, spins his man, gets and pulls it back, and there's Pedro who just fires wide, and he could have got a better connection on that, but that was promising from Watford.
yeah. You say you at that time you would have hoped it would have spurred more chances. 10 minutes later, Sars through again, and again just whistles one narrowly wide of the post. Again, probably could have done a little bit better with trying to put that on target. And you
That was a
perhaps
better
thought,
off a chance as well, I thought.
yeah, I thought that as well. I thought he should have put that in, and maybe it's a reflection of him not being in the goals at the moment. He's perhaps not as confident. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was disappointing not to put that in. But that's perhaps the story of our sort of last few games since the
That was
international break.
probably the best chance of the second half, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
really good
I would
play
say
from
so.
Watford. I think Sarr won the ball back, found Kiko back to Sarr, Sarr to Sema, and then Sema saw that Pedro had so much room on the left hand side. I don't know what Middlesbrough were doing there with a defending. He was in acres of space, and he tried to just side foot it, curl it into that bottom corner, but inches wide. But yeah, that was the best chance of that second half to try and get it up to 2-0.
Absolutely. Well, after that chance, I think they made a double substitution, Balassi and Akpom coming on. I was watching with my Arsenal supporting mate who was telling me how crap Chuba Akpom is. And I thought, well, I better not say anything just in case it jinxes it. And then we made our first sub, Dan Gosling coming on for Zinkernagel. Um, Zinkernagel's performance yesterday, Ben, was you happy with Zinkernagel? Obviously got the assist for that wonder goal, but other than that, was you happy with how he's played, considering he's come back from a knock?
Yeah, I thought he fitted in well. I thought it was a bit of a bright spark. You couldn't really
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that with many of our attacking players yesterday. He looked like he wanted to create something, and he had a few opportunities yesterday. He had a couple of shots and was unlucky not to score. Grabbed an assist. So yeah, I thought it was a good performance. And obviously, he only played like 75 minutes, so he's edging back to full fitness, isn't he? I think it was brought off after 60 minutes last week. So yeah, really happy with the contribution Zinken Eagles doing at the moment. He's just making that Watford team tick, isn't he? So, yeah, I'm really pleased with him.
Yeah, likewise. And I feel a bit sorry for Dan Gosling because was it Rotherham he come on and they scored straight away? Because the
Yeah.
same happened yesterday. He come on for Zinkernagel, as I say. Ken Sema give
Silly foul
away a
to give
free
away.
kick. Yeah, probably sums up his game. Would you say, Ben? Not the
Yeah,
best game for him yesterday.
yeah, really not up to any of the Ken Sema standards that we've seen this season. I think he gave away a couple of needless fouls in that corner within like consecutive minutes as well. And the last one he gave away, we was punished from. I think it wasn't just Ken Sema. We gave away too many free kicks in and around the penalty box
Yeah,
yesterday, especially. But we did the same with Sheffield Wednesday last week when we've got Barry Bannon over the ball and you can deliver a good ball into the box. You know you're going to struggle. And then with Middlesbrough, with Paddy McNair,
he's
exactly
got
the
a
same
good
kind of
free
player.
kick on him
Yeah,
there.
really good at set pieces. So yeah,
Mm.
I thought we shot ourselves in the foot yesterday because before that we was dealing with set pieces really well. We was getting
Mm.
to it, but this one it was Balassi, wasn't it?
Yeah,
He ended up getting away from Truce Econ and had a bit of a run on him and ended up powering his header past Batman. But we've got to do better. I know
absolutely.
we've got a lot better at set pieces this season, but for my liking, we're still conceding too many.
Yeah, and it was a silly foul to give away. Perhaps Sema is feeling a bit sort of knackered still from his international duty. I think he played 90 minutes on the Wednesday, then played at some part on Friday, and then played again started on Monday again. So whether it's still fatigue, I don't know, but a very silly foul to give away. Paddy McNair, very, very good free kick on him, puts the delivery in, pinpoint for Yannick Balassi. Of course, it was him, the ex-Palace man,
Yeah.
and it's his first goal. It was his first goal in English football since 2018. So yeah, if you're struggling for a goal, play Watford. Um, and then the last substitution yesterday was just it was 5 minutes later on the 83rd minute mark. Isaac Success coming on for Ken Sema. Didn't really understand that one myself, to be honest, because we were obviously, was that sort of just accepted that we were going to be drawing 1-1 to you, Ben? Because I thought his substitutions, he only made 2 out of the possible 5. I'm not saying make all 5, but I thought he got his substitutions wrong yesterday. Cisco did.
Yeah, and I thought maybe he was out coached by Warnock yesterday as well, because
Yeah.
fair play to Middlesbrough. I thought they set up perfectly, and they stopped us from playing. They stopped us getting down the right hand side where we're getting so much joy from Kiko and Sarr all season.
Yeah.
They flooded that right hand side and stopped us getting any joy out of that at all. I think we only had that one chance when Sarr spun his man and pulled it back to Pedro. That was the only chance on that right hand side. So yeah, I thought Middlesbrough were fantastic tactically. I thought their man-to-man marking was really good as well. So yeah, I just thought Cisco was probably out coached yesterday. Tactics probably weren't great. Maybe he needed to see that it wasn't working during the game and he needed a plan B. I think we've seen that before this season where he would switch it up, but not yesterday. And then substitutions, possibly a bit too late. I would have maybe wanted to do them a bit earlier on in the game. I would have maybe made a change at half time possibly as well, because it just seemed like we needed to inject a bit of urgency and pace into the game. I didn't think Sema was at the races yesterday. And that was him coming back in for his first start after the international game as well. So a bit disappointed with that, but I don't know how anyone else would feel about this, but I messaged you yesterday because I didn't watch the game live. So I caught up on it, and I think I messaged you about 5 o'clock saying I've just watched the game. And I said I would have brought on Success a bit earlier, or would have maybe started him only purely because Middlesbrough were getting so much joy out of João Pedro up front. I thought João Pedro, glimpses he showed that he was good yesterday, but I thought his first touch was poor. I don't think he was holding the ball up very well yesterday, and it kind of looked like we was missing a physical man up front, where Success has maybe shown that in the last game against Sheffield Wednesday. He put himself about a bit more, and he was getting the flick-ons and that, and we was getting the joy out of maybe Sarr running onto the end of that. And I thought maybe yesterday against a physical side like Middlesbrough, maybe we should have played Isaac Success through the middle just for that, and maybe would have stuck Pedro on the left still with Sem was still obviously knackered from the international break. What was your thoughts on that, or would you just wanted to keep Success out of a team? Or
yeah, I mean, in terms of a physical option, as we've talked about, Boro are quite a big physical side, and Neil Warnock sort of will have got into him and told him to be as physical as possible. I thought their defender, is it Grant Hall? He had a
he won
very good
everything in
game.
here, didn't he? Yeah, man of match, I think.
Yeah, so maybe if we would have put Success up against him, he probably wouldn't have had a sort of such an easy game, so to speak. But again, maybe he's trying to play Pedro into form. I mean, he hasn't scored in how many games, and sometimes managers can be accused of trying to play a player into form. We perhaps saw it with Andre Gray earlier this season, but didn't quite work out in that sense. But yeah, maybe. I think usually a front three of Sarr, Sema, and Pedro usually works wonders, but when they've just been, when one of them has just been on an international break, you sort of get the sense that if one's not ticking, then maybe the others aren't as well. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see Success up against their defence yesterday, to see what he could have done. But I mean, luckily for us, when they scored that goal, I was sort of hoping that we'd hang on. It was sort of feeling back, going back to that feeling, which I haven't felt with this Watford side for a while. Maybe against Sheffield Wednesday, but before that, we've looked in control and looked like we know, we look confident enough to see the game out. But luckily we did. Full time whistle, 1-1. Possession stats were 35 to Watford's 64. We had 10 shots in total, 2 of them on target, 3 shots for Middlesbrough, 1 on target, 2 corners to Middlesbrough's 5, and they had 236 passes and we had 450. So again, it showed that we were very comfortable in possession, but unfortunately we weren't clinical enough with it. And again, we weren't clinical like we weren't against Sheffield Wednesday. It's just lucky that Sheffield Wednesday were saving all their goals for yesterday, because we didn't look clinical enough yesterday. So, but yeah, as I said, Ben, before the game, we'd have took it. It's another point on the board with 10 points clear, because as I mentioned earlier, results went our way. Thank the Lord, Swansea lost in the last minute. Their captain, Matt Grimes, own goal. He was the one that was linked with us, so maybe that was his way of saying, you should let me go to Watford. But yeah, 1-0, Ben, so 10 points clear of Swansea now. We've got 6 games to play. Brentford play today as we record against Birmingham, so hopefully Birmingham can, follow up their impressive win against Swansea with another win at the Brentford's Community Stadium. I think that's what it's called. That would be brilliant. But Ben, like I said, 10 points clear still. Another, game unbeaten. At least it wasn't a loss, and we'll take the draw, won't we?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a point gained. Middlesbrough was a tough opposition. We called it when we spoke to Sam, who came on last week with us.
Yeah.
All 3 of us said it was going to be a tough game, and all 3 of us said it was going to be a draw. Against Neil Warnock, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a difficult afternoon. So, like you said in your tweet as well, if you got offered a point before the game, you would have definitely have taken it. I think we ended up feeling disappointed afterwards because we controlled the game first half. We wasn't really tested. We didn't. Middlesbrough didn't have a shot on target at all. Didn't even have a shot, I don't think, first half.
No, they didn't. No.
Second half, they got that free kick on the edge of the box, and it was that one good delivery that Belossi got on the end of it to pull it away, which is frustrating. But like you said, we held on. We got the point. It's time to regroup now for Watford. I think. Give them a couple of days off because we're playing Reading on Friday. It's Tuesday today. Obviously, the boys are going to be back in London Colney training ground today. They're going to be warming down or recovery, whatever they do. I think they probably deserve a day off tomorrow because of all the international breaks. And then Thursday, go in, do a bit of training, work on the shape, and then Friday will be match day, and hopefully they'll all be ready and firing. Because, like you said a minute ago, when our front 3 don't really perform, I think Watford really struggle, and we've had Sarr, who's recently came back from injury, Sema, who's gone away on international duty, and then you've got João Pedro, who's not really been into the goals lately. So we just need to find a way of getting them all back firing again, or maybe giving them a day off might work.
Yeah, perfectly put. I can't argue with anything you've said there. I think, a day off wouldn't go amiss. Another big game on Friday, as you say. Reading looked good against Derby yesterday. I think 3-1 they won in the end. So they're not completely out of the woods. And look, the gap from Bournemouth to Swansea now is very, very close. So
yeah, you could maybe see Swansea slipping out the playoffs. Is that 4 defeats in a row now? 4 or 3 defeats in a row.
Yeah,
I must say, I do love going on Twitter and seeing these YouTube videos of opposition fans. That
when they
Swansea
watch the
one, watch along live, whatever they call it. The Swansea fan absolutely lost his crap yesterday when they conceded, and it was fantastic to watch. I don't think we should be worried about Swansea now. It's Brentford. Brentford have got 2 games in hand. Yes, we're 10 points clear of them, but if they win those 2 games, that gap goes down to 4 points, and then we've still got to play them. We've got a better goal difference, but it's in our own hands. I'm not worried yet. We've got Reading on Friday. It's a winnable game. I think, win our home games and we should be all right.
Well, you've answered another question there, so we've answered 2 before even getting into it. What we'll do now is we're going to go to an ad break, and then we'll be back to answer the questions that you guys have sent in, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you. And then we're just going to round it off by talking about that game at the Vic on a Friday night. So we're going to go to an ad break. We'll see you in a bit for part 2. Thanks for rejoining for part 2. That was very, very good to talk about the game, albeit it was a rubbish game. As I said, this part of the podcast, we're now going to be answering the questions that you guys continue to send in on a regular basis, and we thank you a lot. So Ben, we'll start with the first one here from Watford Caroline, who's recently sort of said how much she enjoys the podcast. So thank you very much for that, Caroline. she asked, what would your celebration be when we get promoted? And when did you start to believe that we had a chance of promotion? And then in brackets, she's put, obviously, this does depend on you believing it is going to happen. I think me and Ben can both agree that we think it's going to happen now. I mean, yesterday, if we would have won, that would have really sort of been the final nail in the coffin for me believing it. Probably not the right word to use, actually, but that would have been the first real glimpse of me thinking we're on. But yeah, Ben, when we get promoted, or shall we say, if we get promoted, what will your celebration be?
Yeah, let's say if at the moment, because I don't want to get too carried away. Promotion. Well, if anyone knew me before the podcast, they would know that when we got promoted down at Brighton, I ended up going in to see.
Yeah.
Got absolutely smashed after for celebrations in the streets of Brighton when everyone was waiting. I think we was trying to get in a bar, but the bar was absolutely packed to watch that. Was it Fulham versus Middlesbrough game?
Yeah.
And then they messed up in the last minute or something, and so everyone was standing at the window and went absolutely mental. And then everyone erupted into the streets afterwards. And then, yeah, got a few crates of beers, went down to the beach, and then, yeah, consumed a lot, stripped down to my boxes and ran and jumped into the sea. And yeah, that was bloody freezing, mate.
I bet.
I've got a video of it on my phone. I might upload it if we get promoted just to show everyone. So maybe it might have to be the pond.
Yeah.
Do we jump in the pond?
I think somebody asked a question and on Twitter, and there was like, I think it was a hornet's nest, and there was like, if it's socially distanced, then yeah, absolutely. So maybe.
What would
who
you
knows?
do to celebrate?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've not really thought about it too much because, you know, as a Watford fan, don't like getting too carried away, and yeah, I think I would perhaps. I mean, obviously, I'd be in Nottingham, so I wouldn't be able to get down to Watford anytime soon. But I would perhaps say my celebration would definitely involve me going to the local supermarket, probably getting a couple of crates of beer, and then just pretty much seeing my way through them at a speed of knots, to be honest. So yeah, I would probably go with that. But it's difficult to say. Again, I don't like getting ahead of myself. So I'm knowing me,
Yeah,
I'll
the
plan
job's
this massive thing and then we'll bottle it on the last day or something. But yeah,
yeah, the job's not done yet, is it? It's carried away thinking about it, really. I still don't think we're promoted yet. I think it was going to go down to the last final games, and yeah, I
do
don't
you
want to
still think
start
that now?
thinking.
Do you still think it will go
Um,
down to the last day now?
yeah, because I think
Really?
we'd have possibly. Yeah, I think I see Brentford possibly winning their next two games in hand. I know they got Birmingham tonight, and they look a completely different
Animal.
team under animal team under Lee Bowyer, so it's going to be difficult for them tonight. But yeah, I think it could go down. I think we could even slip up against like a Brentford, which would make it go down to the last day of the season. And if we got to win our home games, our last home games is against Swansea in the last game of the season. So yeah, it
Well,
possibly could go down to the last game of the season. I don't want it to. I want
no,
it to be wrapped
nobody
up
does.
a lot sooner. Yeah, I'd
Mm.
love it to be wrapped up at Luton or Norwich or even Millwall. But yeah, I don't
Luton
know.
would be brilliant. It would be
It'd be
absolutely
amazing.
amazing. We've
And
got
it's
a
a shame
question
that
about
no
that.
fans could be going.
I know, yeah, it is. I mean, the other sort of question she's asked, Ben, when did you start to believe that we had a chance? Was it a particular game for you?
Oh, I think it's got to be Cardiff away.
Yeah, yeah.
Scoring a free kick in the last minute. And again, no fans in it again, which is absolutely gutting. But yeah, just to see the response as well, because I think the week before that we was playing Bournemouth, was it? And we ended up losing. And
Mhm.
it's how you respond from that. And I said that would have upset the players, seeing how Bournemouth were reacting there. It would have set a fire in the belly, and Watford would have came out thinking, "No, we're not going to let this happen. We're going to get promoted. We're not going to be in this division, and let's work hard for each other." And we definitely saw that at Cardiff. The mentality changed, and I thought the togetherness that they showed in that game, in particular, and the celebrations after that goal went in from Messina was just incredible. And yeah, that I started believing when that went in. I've to scoring the 93rd minute and a free kick. Wow, it just took my breath away.
Mm. Yeah, I think I'll go with that as well. That was such a momentous game for us. Cardiff were banging form at the time. I don't think they'd lost under Mick McCarthy, and then for us to, go 1-0 down, come back straight away, pretty much, and then score the free kick. Like everything we could have asked for happened in that game, and yeah, I think that's very, very relevant to say. Next question we've had from another regular listener, Chris Bone. He said, when we are promoted at Luton, so he thinks that's when it's going to happen, do you think their players should give us a guard of honour? And then he's also asked, what is the strangest ingredient you've seen on a pizza? He's going with horse meat. I mean, we've seen Celtic and Rangers. I think Celtic refused to give Rangers a guard of honour. Do you think
Yeah.
that? Do you think that they would, Ben? Because again, they might not feel as much as they might not feel that there's that much of a rivalry again. I know Nathan Jones alluded to it in the last game at the Vic, saying it really didn't feel like a rivalry whatsoever. But do you think they'd deny us a guard of honour? Do you get a
I
guard
was
of
going to
honour
say,
if you
I
finish
was going to say,
second?
do you even get it if you win the league and get promoted in
Yeah,
the championship?
I don't think you do.
Is it just when you win the title in the top division, like we've seen in the Premier League, and obviously we've just spoke about it in Scotland with Celtic and Rangers? Is it a thing? I think we should definitely bring it in if we do get promoted at Luton.
Yeah,
But
just for
whether
that
they'll give
game.
it or not, I think they might end up throwing stones at us or something.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'd love to see it, but I strongly doubt it. And as
yeah.
for the strangest topping on a pizza, I think we've all had a bit of horse meat after the horse meat scandal a few years ago, and when I think Tesco's was selling horse meat as beef burgers, weren't they, back in the day? But yeah, the strangest thing. Well, I know in Australia they have like crocodile meat and kangaroo meat on pizzas, but
Oh, wow. Yeah.
only talking from previous experience, my one would be the what I said a couple of months ago, that KFC one I had,
Oh,
Kentucky Fried Chicken with a gravy.
yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be my strangest one I've seen and tasted.
Yeah, I will probably go for. I was on holiday in Mallorca in 2008 with my family, and my brother loved pizza back then, and he had a fried egg cracked bang in the centre of the pizza, and I was like, "Really? Is
I've
that a
seen that.
thing?"
I've seen that. I swear we saw that when we went to Barcelona.
Oh
Do you
yeah, I
remember
think
when we were
yes.
boys? There was like a counter in this. I think it was a bakery, but they were selling pizza and they had fried egg on top of a bloody pizza. And I was like, "What is that?" But I
Yeah.
think it's quite common over in Spain.
Yeah, maybe it is. If we've got any Spanish listeners, if you can confirm that for us, that'd be great. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest ingredient that I've seen on a pizza. But yeah,
Fried egg on a pizza, mad.
I was really disappointed when you gave the review of the KFC one, because I was really looking forward to trying that for a long time. And you weren't the only one to say that it was very, very, you know.
Have you tried like a Donna meat one?
No, you'd have thought I would have, because I love my doner meat, but that sounds incredible, to be honest. So I think that might be next on the list.
Let me know when you have it, because I'm undecided.
In
It
fact,
sounds amazing, but I think it could be rank.
that might be my celebration if we get promoted. Order a large doner
Donna meat
bacon, please.
pizza.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um,
Love it.
George White has asked, next season in the Premier League, what additions do we need to stay there? I thought we'd acknowledge the question, George. We will probably at some stage do a podcast which will pretty much outline who we believe should stay and who we believe should go, and then possibly any other additions we believe should come in, a bit like we did at the start of this season. So yeah, thank you for the question, but I'm sure we'll release a podcast which will just be on that subject alone. Jamie Davis, you sort of answered this question, Ben, towards the end of talking about the game. He said, if we win just the home games this season from now on, do we go up? Because it'll be 88 points if that is the case. And I think we've said that 90 points should do it. So do you think 88 and just winning the home games, or do you think we need to sneak another away win in there as well, just to make sure the job is done?
Away win and possibly a point away from home as well. But yeah, I do think if we pick up 9 points out of the games that we've got left at home, which are Reading, Millwall, and Swansea, I do think the job will be done. It's a shame we're playing. We got a home game last game of the season. Ideally, maybe you'd want that second last game of the season just so you can maybe enjoy the last game of the season and not worry and lose too much hair or too much sleep going into the game. But yeah, I do think, win your home games. That's 9 points. I don't see Swansea or Brentford putting a run of games that would overtake us if we don't win our home games.
Yeah,
we're just so good at home. I just don't. The worst case, I think we might get 7 points out of those 3 home games, and I think that might be a draw to maybe Swansea last game of the season. We've seen Watford teams in the past, but they're not great under pressure when it matters. Especially last time we was fighting for promotion and we could have won a title. Last game of the season against Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, me and you were halfway down the concourse, ready to run on the pitch at full time and celebrate us winning the title, but it wasn't to be, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't to be, and the scenes in that away end when that went in, and
no.
we ended up with going on the pitch after the full time whistle, and it didn't feel right, did it? It was like, what are we doing? This feels wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But we ended up getting on the Watford DVD, didn't we? So yeah, we can't complain too much.
Yeah, if you've got that DVD, look out for the guy with the inflatable banana at the end. Yeah. James Hurst has asked, what's your favourite Pringles flavour? I mean, there is only one correct answer in my opinion. And then what have we been doing wrong in these 2 games and what needs to change for the Reading game? I think we've not been clinical enough to answer that latter one. We need to be more clinical. You know, a couple of games ago, you know, we're winning 1-3-0 against Birmingham City. You know, we were scoring goals. So we're not being clinical enough. Whereas this time, you know, we relied on the 1 goal against Sheffield Wednesday. Luckily, we were able to keep them at bay just about. And then yesterday, we had a couple of chances to maybe score 2 or 3. Only scored the 1, and it come back to bite us. So I think to answer that question, James, we need to be clinical. I don't know if you've got any other suggestions for that, Ben. But other than that, what is your favourite Pringles flavour?
I think it's down to the front 3, which I've highlighted recently. I think Sar's coming back from injury. Pedro's not scoring goals, and Sema looks absolutely knackered. So I think we just need to get those 3 firing, and I think the clinicalness will come back and we'll start scoring goals again. Hopefully, we see it this weekend against Reading. Favourite Pringle flavour? Oh, there's a couple, isn't there? I really like salt and vinegar, but it ends up hurting my tongue because of how salty and vinegary it is. It ends up stinging my tongue. So Texas barbecue, I'll go with.
Ben, you've disappointed me there, mate. It's got to be sour cream and onion, or sour cream and chive. Sorry, yeah, the green ones. They're the best Pringles ever.
I do like them, but I just rate the other ones above it. I might even throw another one above that. Prawn cocktail. Have you tried that?
I've not tried them ones. No, prawn cocktail Pringles just don't sound right. Like, just leave them.
Mate, they're amazing.
I might try them. In fact, I'll throw them in with the Donna pizza when we get promoted. We'll see what the hype's all about.
I'd love to know what you're drinking at night. At the moment, you have a Donna meat pizza, a side as a prawn cocktail Pringles, and then what you're going to have, like cream soda to wash it down with.
I have no idea. The next morning will be a bit hairy, I think. But I'm dreading that hangover already. You've sort of mentioned this already, Ben, but Ben Matthews has said, do you think some players need taking out the team just to freshen things up? So, for example, William Chusakong, Ken Sema, JP10. Last 2 games, we've looked worrying lethargic. Do you think it is a tough one because they do look knackered, but at the end of the day, they are a threat. And like without them in the squads, would we be doing as well? I don't know. So it's a really, really tough one. Would you change any of those up for this running, Ben, or would you be reluctant to?
I might just make one change this weekend, and that would probably be just to rest Ken Sema. Everyone else I'd probably play, only because we're playing Reading on Wednesday and no Friday, and then we're not playing again till next Saturday when we're playing Luton away. So there's a 7-day rest period then. So I don't think you'd want to change too much. I just think for a moment you'd maybe rest Ken Sema because he looks the most tired out of them all. And maybe put João Pedro back over on the left-hand side and then either pick Success or Andre Gray down the middle. I would keep the back four. I know Truce Econ, I praised him last week. I thought he was outstanding and his passing was much better. But yesterday he struggled, didn't he?
Massively.
I thought he let Balassi get away from him too easily. His passing was really poor. But that was down to Middlesbrough as well. A lot of people have pointed this out watching it back that Middlesbrough were targeting Truce Econ, the high press on him as well. They wanted Truce Econ to have the ball. So they knew that he wasn't great passing the ball out from the back. And I think that showed yesterday. And maybe he's one to come out, maybe give Cabaselli a game. But I would keep that back four. I don't want too many changes there because I don't want mistakes to creep into the game.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It is really difficult. I know they've looked lethargic, but I'd just be a bit reluctant to change them because, yes, Sema can have enough games, but then other games he can be unplayable. I think it was against Blackburn. He weren't the greatest, and he scored that game as well. He's had a few quiet games this season, but then the next game he tends to completely rip it up. So it's really, really tough.
Do you think he's becoming a bit of a scapegoat? Whenever Watford don't perform, we just go, Ken Sema's looking tired. Because I don't really hear it from any other player, really. I just always see, Ken Sema is tired.
Yeah, and that might be because he is looking tired. And, I don't know whether scapegoat's the right word to use, but I think people are very quick to pick up on Ken Sema looking tired straight away. And look, that might be for a reason. It might be because he does stand out head and shoulders above everyone else because of how lethargic he looks. But I can sort of see where you're going with that. I think, I can sort of see where you're going. It's interesting you say, Ben. You said we've got Reading on Friday, and then the next game isn't till Luton on Saturday. So surely now we cannot get promoted at Luton. Is that not out the question completely now?
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to. Yeah, because
we'd be on. That would be the 42nd game of the season. So we'd have 4 games left, 12 points possible. So we would have to win against Reading and hope that Brentford lose and
lose all their games in hands.
Yeah, lose their game in hands whenever they are. And their game in hands might be after the Luton game. So I don't think we can get promoted at Luton anymore unless I'm working it out wrong in my head. I'm sure listeners will be quick to point out if I have got that wrong, and I'll be happy for them to do so. But yeah, from just thinking that out when you said it, I was thinking, I don't think it is possible to get promoted at Luton anymore, purely because Brentford have got a game in hand. If they didn't have that game in hands, then maybe, just maybe.
They got 2 games in hand, haven't they? So
I think one's against Bournemouth.
And once against Birmingham.
Yeah, or I don't know. I've got Rotherham in my head for some reason.
That's it. Rotherham and Birmingham City, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've still got to play Bournemouth, which would actually be quite an interesting game at this time of season now.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we're 10 points clear of them. They've got 2 games in hand. And there's about 5-6 games left. Yeah, matter of factly, we can't get promoted at Luton. I don't even think we could maybe get promoted at Norwich.
No.
I think it'd be the earliest would be Millwall, and that's the third
maybe?
lost game. Yeah.
Listen, I'd take that. I'd rather do that than have to go down to the last game of the season. No, thank you. And then the last question we've got, because we've answered Catherine's question about with the international break coming at the wrong time. Ash at the Watford tie has said, "Are you going to jump in the pond if we are promoted? And if no, are you even Watford fans?" But Ash, I think I mentioned this. I'd love to. I'd love nothing more. Although last time we got promoted, I didn't physically jump in the ponds. We were in Watford High Street that day when Ben talked about when we drew with Sheffield Wednesday. But I didn't physically jump in the ponds because I would have had, quite a long journey home we'd been absolutely soaking wet with no change of clothes. So I thought against it. If there is any possible way of me being able to get to Watford, then possibly I would love to come down and go out for a few drinks. I mean, I think it's the rule of six kicks in on the 12th, so in 6 days' time, and it's only outside pubs can open. But I don't know if the last game of the season falls after May, whenever it is. I think that pubs can open again properly. So if social distancing allows to me to do so, and Boris has eased restrictions again, then I would absolutely love to come down to Watford and have a few drinks to celebrate. So maybe watch this space. I'd love to do some sort of live reaction podcast as well, and do something on social media, but we will see. It all depends when or if, you know, when and if we get promoted. But yeah, watch this space on that one. But they're all the questions that you've sent in, guys. I say this every time, but thank you very, very much for sending those questions in. Really, really do appreciate it. Me and Ben look forward to reading some of these questions. I think it was last night Ben was messaging me saying, "I'm loving these questions that we get. Like, they're brilliant," and it just changes it up. You know, we're not, you know, serious or anything like that. I don't think we ever have been. So it just makes it a little bit more fun, and hopefully more fun for you guys to listen to as well. And we're going to just wrap the show up by talking about the game on Friday. You know, so quick that we've just played 2 games. We've got another one on Friday, as we've mentioned. Reading at home, they drew with Barnsley on Good Friday, and then they beat Derby yesterday on Easter Monday. They're still a threat, it would seem. I do feel more confident because we're at home. How do you see this one panning out, Ben?
Going to be a difficult game again. I think we're going to see Reading with a bit more possession than what Middlesbrough did. Middlesbrough wanted us to have the ball yesterday. They was happy with that. That was their game plan. But yeah, I think it might be a bit more high tempo game. Both teams looking to attack, and that's going to suit us down to a T. I think that's where we're going to get Sarr into the game more. That's where Kiko's going to be a threat as well. And we didn't see that against Middlesbrough yesterday. So I'm looking forward to a game. I think it'll be entertaining. Friday night game as well, which is good. Means it's closer. We don't have to wait till Saturday for a game. But I don't know what I'm going to do myself over the weekend when I watch the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think Reading's, their form's a bit sticky lately. I think they lost to Birmingham in their first game under Lee Bowyer, and then they've picked up back-to-back draws against QPR and Barnsley, and then they picked up with a good win against Derby yesterday. But they're not someone I've really see going up this season. Are they under the radar a bit? They're sitting 6th in the league. At the start of the season, they absolutely ran away with it, didn't they? But then they hit a purple patch, and their form just went downhill. So team that slip out and Bournemouth come in. I don't think we're going to finish in a playoffs this season. I think we're going to fall out, and it's going to be too expensive. Bournemouth. So maybe we could help them slip out by beating them.
Yeah, that'd be
Friday
good.
night.
They haven't won away, incidentally, since the 27th of Feb when they beat Rotherham
Wow.
1-0. And then the game before that, they lost 1-0 to Wickham away. So, you know, they only just scraped the 1-0 win away at Rotherham. So the last couple of away games were Barnsley, which was 1-1. They lost to Birmingham 2-1. They drew with Forest 1-1, and then before that it was beating Rotherham 1-0, and then before that was losing 1-0 to Wickham. So away from home, recently they've not been at the races, and as you say, they're occupying 6th spot at the moment, but just on goal difference, and Bournemouth have got a game in hand. So it is a game that we should be looking at winning because we're at home. So hopefully that is the case. And then obviously we play on Friday. So Saturday, Millwall have got Swansea. Now Millwall at home, they had this crazy stat where they've not won many games at home, but they've also lost a very small amount at home, and they're very, very resolute at the back at home as well. And you know, clean sheet wise, they're up there this season. Bial Casco or whatever his name is, a goalkeeper, has done a superb job there. So hopefully Gary Rowett can hold Swansea to a 0-0 or maybe even beat them. And then it's Preston who have been doing us a brilliant favour. Drawing with Norwich, beating Swansea yesterday, and then they host Brentford on Saturday. So hopefully their
Perfect.
new manager bounce can continue. But what a bloody run of games that would have been, by the way. Norwich, Swansea, and Brentford. Jesus Christ! I think they should give this caretaker guy the job. I'm led to believe that he was Alex Neil's assistant. So absolutely superb stuff. Really, really do. Really hope he gets a job. But yeah, it is going to be a tough game. I know I've just pointed out their away records probably not the best recently, but they're still sitting sixth for a reason. They frustrated us at the Medeski Stadium earlier in the season, and yeah, so hopefully we can turn that around. I'll kick things off with the score predictions. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Watford win. Ben, score prediction?
2-0 Watford win.
Like it. I like it. And then hopefully the others can sort of slip up again. And then who knows, we could probably be, we're 10 points clear at the moment. So hopefully we can be 13 points clear come Saturday at 5 o'clock. And that would be brilliant.
It's a good opportunity for Watford we're playing first again, aren't we? We're playing Friday night when everyone else is playing Saturday. So it's a good opportunity to put our authority down and get 3 points and put that pressure on the other team, because we saw that last week when we beat Sheffield Wednesday and the other team slipped up. I don't think teams like chasing. So yeah, great opportunity for Watford to extend their lead at the top of, towards the top of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Huddersfield can do us a favour tonight, we might even start talking about whether we can catch Norwich again, because I think we're 5 points behind them at the moment, but they play Norwich tonight. And like I said, hopefully Birmingham can do us another favour. That'd be brilliant. I know I've slagged them off over the years, but they're my best mates at the moment. So yeah, but that's been another brilliant podcast to do with yourself, Ben. Unfortunately, obviously, we couldn't talk about the a win for Watford, but it wasn't us talking about a defeat, something which we've been lucky enough not to be able to do for a while, and long may that continue for all I care. But yeah, myself and Ben will be back at some stage over the weekends to talk about the Reading game, hopefully a win, and then we'll be looking ahead to the derby, the M1 derby. Obviously, you didn't hear from a opposition fan today. We weren't able to get one squeezed in. You definitely will not be hearing from one next week because we're playing Luton. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. We hope you enjoy it. Let us know how you thought the podcast went, and as always, make sure you subscribe to us on all podcast platforms. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well, because we're going to start putting podcasts out on there. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. Another 4-day week for those guys that work Monday to Friday. And the Horns will be back in action on Friday night. Stay safe, take care, and come on, you Horns.